I don't know if you've ever seen a black nerd, but you are staring at one tonight. Because, honestly, I'm as huge a fan as all of you are. I cannot fucking believe I get to work on this show. Rick and Morty fans, we have found each other. Let us all take off our pants and mingle the way God has intended. I'm so happy to see so many female faces. You know, this season we have so many female writers. And make some fucking noise for that. Because we were like, I'm pretty sure America was like, man, should we do presidency or the writer's room at Rick and Morty? And the women have spoken. They want to work for Rick and Morty. Everybody turn to a camera, maybe give it the finger and just say, what's up, people who are streaming? Yeah, because you guys actually showed up in downtown Burbank. Make some noise for yourself. You all look so very beautiful. Now, we don't have all night. You didn't come here to see me. We all miss Sam J, right? Yeah, maybe I'll get a job after this shit. So let's get right into it. Are you ready? I said Burbank! Yeah, there we go. Now, everybody knows that there's the voice talent and there's all the different people who do the different things, but there's some amazing people, and we're so lucky tonight to have one of the people that you may have seen in the intro to the 3rd season. She's a very talented storyboard artist. She's also from Chicago. Welcome to the stage, Erica Hayes. You can just sit wherever there's alcohol that you prefer. There's so many.
I think I'm gonna have to slide my way down here.
All right, because you know.
But I'll talk to you right here.
If you want to drink somebody else's drink, you can drink somebody else's drink. That's what I do. What is your favorite character to draw?
The easiest to draw is Rick. Favorite character to draw is probably Summer.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you draw Summer when she was? Did you draw that episode of Summer where she was all? When she was in Golden Foal's head?
Yes, I did some revisions on that episode.
Yeah, that is a crazy episode. It's one of the best. One of the best. Thank you so much for showing up here tonight at Ricking Morty. So very lucky. Now, we also got super lucky because we got somebody who happened to write some of the episode tonight, but has done so much great work for Ricking Morty. Not Ricking Morty, but Rick and Morty. But tonight, the great work is for Ricking Morty, Mike McMahon. Cheers. Cheers to you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Of course. Show the mug again, because we got a little love for the mug. Look at that. I'm selling some bootleg mugs. Not this one, but if y'all are interested in mugs, I got a lot of mugs. I'll see y'all on the parking lot. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, I'm good.
So good to see you. What was your favorite part of tonight's episode?
Oh man, I like it when Rick is pulling all that stuff out of the box.
Yeah!
Because Justin was like, let's come up with a couple things that Rick made for Beth when she was a kid. And I was like, all right, here's like 30 things.
How much of that shit did you actually have?
Oh, there was a bunch. I mean, that I had? I had the Ladybug Taser. I had the I had the lasso that makes people like you. But then he just kept all of it. And I was like, no, we need to cut this stuff out. And he was like, nah, not, you know, and so.
So there's nothing like on a B list that didn't make it in.
No, there's no, if I had known there was no B list, I probably wouldn't have put on the talking knife or something like that. Like, because you put some bad stuff on there to like kind of push towards the good stuff, and then you don't expect him to be like, no, it's all good, it's all going in there. You're like, no, 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 no.
It's so great. That's the best job. You have the best
It's a fun
job. It's got to be competitive to constantly come up with things to beat the other writers.
It is.
What was the hardest bit? Was there like a bit that just was not working?
Oh, man.
That you fixed?
Oh, man. I mean, that's tough because I feel like my bits, it's 50-50, and then Harmon and Justin make them all work. I don't think there's a specific bit that was like, this is a really bad bit that suddenly became good.
So it was never droopy butthole, and then it became poopy.
Oh, actually, it was originally.
I told you.
Well, no, because so Mr. Poopy Butthole was like making fun of Justin, and so it was like, oh, let's have a character that's obviously the fake one. And I think he started as a character called Bullet Boy, and we were like, that's not Justin-y enough. And Justin at the time was like obsessed with drawing this character named Titty Longballs, who was he had these like very like pendulous breasts and these long balls and a top hat, and we were like, no, it shouldn't be Bullet Boy. It should be closer to Titty Longballs. But then Adult Swim was like, we're not doing Titty Longballs. And we were like, Mr. Poopy Butthole, remove the boobs and the balls, and they were like, all right, you can do Mr. Poopy Butthole.
So awesome. Thanks so much for being here.
Of course, thank you.
Warm up your clapping hands because I'm so excited to bring up our next guest. She's Beth on the show. You've seen her all of your lives. She's fucking amazing. Please welcome to the stage, Sarah Chalk. Thanks so much.
Oh, shit!
What? She puts the I can't walk in chalk?
I can't anymore. It was not a good decision.
Thanks so much for doing the show. What was your favorite part of this episode? Because this is a big episode for you.
This episode, my favorite part, I would say, is when Rick says, yeah, you know, a dad makes a toilet look like R2-D2 and he blows up Reddit, but I am Charles Manson for giving you your own world instead of an iPad. That was my favorite line of the whole episode. And then just like seeing it tonight for the first time with all of you guys getting to watch it all together is such a cool, unique experience. We don't really get to.
Yeah, we never get to hear the live laughter, so we make it, obviously, and then it would be crazy if we were in someone's living room unannounced.
Unannounced.
Right.
Uninvited.
Right, you said you was a fan, though.
And we have no friends, so we just watch it like by ourselves in a dark closet. It's not the same.
I watch it on Periscope because I can't get the Adult Swim feed to work. So. So I watch some guy's Periscope. It's how I watch boxing too. It's pretty
It's pretty rad. I'm gonna try it.
It's like really low res. It's vertical, shot vertical. That's nice.
And to see the animation too, because we don't get to see any of that.
Oh yeah, you don't get to
right
see it
now.
for a while.
I don't see it. No, I haven't seen any of that. So to like to see, you know, you read a script and you visualize like what's that going to look like when there's like, you know, the fruity and
the world that we actually create. It's insane. It's insane. Because I know that I'm going to say some things, but when you actually see them in 3D, when they're drawn, you're like, I would have said that differently. That's fucking hilarious.
What's funny is on this stage we've got, so like I'm in the room and we're trying to come up with the ideas and like these are good ideas, these are bad ideas, and they get turned into scripts. And then they go to Erica and all of your guys and you're like, how do we make it look?
Yeah.
And then it goes to you guys and you're like, how do we make it sound?
Yeah.
And how do we perform these characters? And then, you know, so it's kind of like 3 different stages all mixed together.
all here
Tonight, you're welcome, everybody.
All up in your face. So much Rick and Morty all up in your face. Is there a favorite moment that you, like, or is there a part of Beth that you love to play? Because I've seen her emerge this season, like she's huge this season. That when her dad first moved in, there was like, you loved that she loved her dad and you got why she was there, but she's actually like learning from this whole process.
I think one of my favorite sides to her was what we got to find out in this episode, was just having her realize like, oh shit, I'm actually a lot like my dad.
Yeah, yeah, especially when she starts to beat up all the little, I want to say this the right way, but I think fuck semen animals is the, you can't even talk about Rick and Morty without being like, yeah, so then fuck semen was the episode.
Totally, it's a great show for your kids. It's great for children.
Speaking of which, you were saying upstairs that you have some of the props for your son. You have some of the props from the show.
Yes, so my son is 7 and he's obsessed with Rick and Morty and he's not allowed to watch it. And, but he can't, maybe 8 times a week I hear, Mama, when am I gonna be big enough to watch Rick and Morty? I'm like, not for a while, buddy. So but he wants his room to be Rick and Morty themed, so we're doing a big portal, and I just got him a portal gun. And so he's got this Hell Yeah Tiny Rick t-shirt, and he's like, why can't I wear it to school? And I'm like, because you can't. I'm a shirt that says Hell Yeah Tiny Rick in grade 2.
So awesome.
And my 1-year-old has the Tiny Morty, we call them stuffies in Canada, but I think here you call them plushies.
Yeah. We call them stuffies.
You call them stuffies? You don't call them stuffies? See, I wonder how much I get myself into trouble by just dropping some Canadian shit and then people walk away going,
if you'd said stuffy, I would have been like, I've been saying that wrong the whole my life. If you had just committed to it, I would have been like, oh no, I've been saying plushie.
Okay, so it's a tiny Rick and Morty pluffy.
Pluffy.
Plushie.
And
it's a little doll.
So my 1-year-old has not that many words, and one of them is Morty. She falls asleep like most kids have a little blankie. She has a tiny. She's like Morty. Yeah.
My 3-year-old has a little crocheted Mr. Poopy Butthole, but calls him Mr. PB. He doesn't know what it means.
That ain't cute. You got to teach your child what a poopy butthole is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Can't have these kids.
My niece has a poopy butthole towel, which I didn't really pre-think until kids came over to swim, and she's like, who wants poopy butthole? And I'm like, sorry to her parents for making this up.
It happens.
Three amazing seasons with so much Beth drama, newly divorced. Oh my God. Kind of crazy, but she's kind of emerging, right? She's becoming her own Beth. She's becoming the Beth that she's ever been. And speaking of the Beth, but you motherfuckers ain't gonna groan? I thought this was Los Angeles. You tell a bad joke in Los Angeles? No. His joke tasted like cold pour over. So awful. Speaking of the Beth, we're gonna run what we like to do here at the old Ricking Morty is a super clip, which is the Beth of Beth. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
How could you make my son miss an entire semester of school? I mean, it's not like he's a hot girl. He can't just bail on his life and set up shop in someone else's. What are you gonna do when your daughter asks you if she's attractive?
I'll say yes.
Morty, gross.
You thought about getting an abortion?
Everyone thinks about it, obviously. I'm the version of me that didn't do it. It's nobody's choice to be here, you knobs.
Oh my God, are you drunk?
Woody, my wife, coach.
You're what? Oh, God!
Oh my gosh, sweetheart, are you okay? You're not in any of my photos, Mr. Poopy Butthole.
Well, what do you know about this? You're not in any of mine.
We're gonna do whatever Rick wants, whenever he wants.
Yes.
Why?
Because I don't want him to leave again, you dumb asshole! I'm sure you know that a deer is closer to a horse than you are to a doctor, so let's save the measuring for when our dicks are out. It's time to save a life! Jerry, you can't bend metal.
Then make a me that can!
How can I do that while I'm watching you totally fail to bend metal?
I will spare one of their lives. You simply have to choose.
Summer! Who wants to go run in a stream?
What the f? Is something wrong, Beth?
Oh!
Oh my God!
Oh my God, I'm my father. Jerry's going to spend some time divorced. Well, Dr. Wong, by the way, racist name. Thank you.
Oh, she did it!
You ever wonder what happened to Rick and Morty?
Sometimes, but I'm ashamed to admit, now that they're gone, I'm finally happy.
I still have not recovered from the guilt of shooting Mr. Poopy Butthole.
He deserved it. He deserved it.
He did deserve it.
There's a lot of loss of life on the show. A lot of Meeseeks get killed.
Yes.
It's all right. We'll be okay.
Stop the therapy.
So how did you meet Dan and Justin?
how did I meet Dan Jess? I feel like I knew them kind of from Channel 101 days.
Yes.
So I did a Channel 101.
It's in the booth.
In the booth. I did
Yep.
the booth. But then when I really met them was over the phone auditioning for this part of Beth. And so I was at my friend's cabin and there was like dogs barking and like stuff going on, like birds, and I'm like, quiet down, your motherfucking birds, because I want this part. And so they'd be like on the phone and I'm trying to hear and they're like, try it like this. I'm like, okay, yeah. And because I obviously could not believe the pilot script and just wanted to do the part of it. I was so genius, so smart, and so funny, and so different, and so good.
So did you know, since you'd never met them, once you actually got to see who they were and how they worked, it's kind of a shock, isn't it? Because it's like two of your best friends from high school, sort of, in the lab creating, right?
It was so, I mean, the cool part is that they're there every time we record. I mean, we're not recording with each other, which is so different than when you're doing something live action. Like, you don't have somebody to work off of. You kind of go through it line by line by line, but they're always there in the booth giving you feedback and notes saying, oh, try it like this or try it like that. And so that's been the best part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. They're super helpful.
And scripts are insanely good. Like, I get so excited when I see that in my inbox in the email, like new Rick and Morty script, and you open up and you read it, and whatever you picture in your mind when you're reading the details of the two-headed testicle monster, then you can't imagine what's actually going to be like when these geniuses over here and get their hands on it.
Why do you think? Why do you think Beth picked Summer so quickly?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Why do you think Beth picked Summer so quickly?
In the Morty Mind Blowers, where the alien says you have to choose, and she's like, Beth! I mean, Summer!
Oh my God. We'll get to the Morty Mind Blowers in a second. I want to find out how many Morty Mind Blowers you guys dialed to right through.
Yeah.
I think she's a girl. She's a girl.
All right.
That's why. Has nothing to do with anything else.
I feel like Rick goes through a lot of Mortys too, right? Like, there's only one Summer, but like, who knows what Morty Rick is dragging into the house from Beth's perspective, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
If they're swapping dimensions,
it could be any number of.
You got a Morty with regular pupils showing up. You got a Morty with a mohawk.
It could be.
There's a lizard Morty.
Morty.
Yeah.
The cop Morty.
Yeah, there's the cop Morty could show up and be like, geez. Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
You gotta go with Summer. You gotta stick with Summer.
Your mom, would you want a Fruity Land for your kids?
Oh yeah, no, definitely gave me good ideas.
What would be
I
in
was
there?
taking notes. What would be in there?
Yeah.
I think the breathable water.
Yeah.
Sounds like that was a solid plan.
Food?
I think.
Food?
I don't know. I think that the way that Tommy did it was pretty solid. I don't know. Food just seems so obvious.
And you're not supposed to mix fun time with food time, right?
That's right.
You gotta separate that. Yeah, or else you get like this when you're like, yeah, fun food time. No, not anymore. It's food time, screen time, bedtime. And don't give your kids apple juice. Apparently that ruins them for life.
The root.
No juice. Juice is.
Juice.
I obviously got a lot of juice. I have a 3-year-old who gets no juice, and I gave him coconut water.
Shut your fucking mouth.
This is the best shit I've ever had. He was like flipping out because he's never had juice.
I've already failed. I already F+.
His grandma gave him orange juice, and I was like, you crazy person, what are you doing? Orange juice? Orange juice?
I'm so sorry we don't have more time for juice.
Juice time.
I don't want to leave Erica out of this conversation. No juice for you?
I have no opinion on juice.
You have no opinion on juice. You did very well.
I have no kids.
Tell us. Right now, there's like 2 kids going, God damn. She does not love us at all. This station wagon is so hot. Will you walk us through the storyboard process just a little bit?
Sure.
I know that we have a couple photos of how it all goes down in the room, but before we get to that, can you just sort of tell us, like, how hard is that to get from A to B? Well, A to Z, because A to B I just did that. Suck it.
So we start off with a script that we get from the writers, and we usually launch the episode with Justin, like our specific team of storyboard artists and director. There's usually about 4 teams, 1 director and 3 storyboard artists, sorry.
How many people on a team?
3.
Wow, okay.
3 storyboard artists, 1 director. And so we sit down and we just like go through the whole episode. Justin gives us any like ideas he has or notes he has, and then our director will kind of throw in ideas too, and we're free to do the same. And then we kind of just get the whole episode divvied up, and we just go our separate ways, and we start boarding, and we get the audio with
how long does that take to board?
So we get 2 weeks to rough it out, like really, really rough, and then we meet again with Justin. He gives more notes. And then we get another 2 weeks to clean it up, and then 1 additional week for last-minute revisions. It doesn't always go that smoothly.
Yeah, because you can be storyboarding until the last minute, right?
Yes.
You sound so happy about that.
I was doing storyboards on this episode tonight, like 3 weeks ago.
I heard that's not true for now, but I was told we're supposed to wrap that up. But you know, so all these storyboards came in on time and perfect, just like every time.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we work with a bunch of perfectionists, and they want to make sure it's
And there's also so many teams, it seems like you really have to get a lot of approval and sort of meld all of the different ideas, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Can we take a look at what that crazy writer's room looks like? And can you tell me what we're looking at?
Oh.
Because is this one of the rats from?
This is actually our kitchen at the studio.
Okay.
And all the artists are just free to make whatever drawings we want on it, whenever we want, and so that's what these are.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah, this is more when they're mad that we've changed the scripts a lot.
Yeah.
And they gather in the kitchen to draw angry things.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I see a beautiful Rick. I see an angry little Morty.
How long do these usually stay up?
Ew.
Until someone starts crying?
They erase the board every Friday, and then we start again on Monday.
So it said inside the mega maggot on that last one. Sometimes somebody will go in before anything is drawn on there, and they'll write like a headline, and then all the artists go off of it. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, can we go back to that last one? So that everybody can break out their phones and see what that text is? What's the?
Beautiful.
Oh, the munchie machine. Okay.
Trump's at Nickelodeon today.
I'm old, but I can still see.
Some deep cuts, you guys.
This might be the moment where I realize I need glasses.
My thing is I have to be able to read far away because I have to read police before it actually gets to me.
Is this your... Was that for older office or the current office, do you think?
I think that was the current office.
Yeah.
I think.
You know, it's funny, at the beginning of the season, those drawings start and it's like, draw an infinite Tesseract maze, and you get in there on Friday and it's like, whoa, somebody really put some time into this. And by the end of the season, it's like, draw a circle, and everybody's like, fuck it.
That's true.
So does this show have we have a lot of backgrounds, and it's kind of cool to watch this show twice or like 2 or 3 times, because you'll look and you'll see that there's like super funny signs. The Simpson kills, what? Because the alcohol was free? Is that why? You decided I'll get so drunk in Burbank. Mom. Do we have more backgrounds than like the average?
I think so, because there's very little reuse in this show. A lot of shows, you know, they'll take place in the same locations over and over again, and therefore it's less work for the artists. But I know for like 301 in particular, we had something like over 200 backgrounds.
Oof.
That's crazy.
Yeah, our background artists really did amazing.
And you sort of knew that you wanted to do this because we have some of your earlier artwork, but you've always been, this is the high school years. A lot of Nazi stuff, really weird. Who knew? Doesn't give a fuck about juice, but hates juice. Who knows? Who knows these days? And she loves juice. Let's take a look at some of the first stuff. Maybe you can walk us through this stuff.
Okay, so this is when I was like 8 years old. I made a little comic for my grandma.
You can offer that?
You were 8? Yeah, 8.
And you were already drawing Summer?
Yeah. This was a college project, comic project.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was high school.
That's you.
That's me.
Look at you in your Fair Isle sweater. She was living in Chicago, already ready to go skiing. Next slide.
It's very cold there. Oh, this is my Rick and Morty storyboard test.
Because this is what you actually use to audition and get the job?
Yes. So
Wow.
we had to test to get the job, and looking at these now, I'm like, this is terrible. But, you know.
What advice would you give you about these now that you have the job? How would you shit on yourself?
I guess it's just off model, which I can't totally be blamed for because it was my first time ever drawing the character.
Explain to the rest of us what
But,
off model. I know you guys know this side of the room.
Yeah.
But can you tell us what off model means?
Just the correct way to draw the characters is on model. That's the term we use. We have like a character sheet with turnaround and all that. But yeah,
Which is
I did
kind of
this
something.
in Photoshop, and I didn't even know what Storyboard Pro was at the time, actually.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Yeah, we'll get into how you actually draw Rick later, but because I know there's tons of fan art and people want to know what are the lines that they use. But what programs do you use? Is a huge question.
Yeah, it's Toon Boom Storyboard Pro. So it's a program completely designed for storyboarding.
Okay.
There's a place where you can just pop in the audio with all the voice acting, and it's the easiest program. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys are kind of competitive, right? So there's an episode where it seemed like Justin was making a joke about the characters and like how boring they were. Like their origin story said nothing. But do you have rivalries? Do you guys actually like, look at this shit, 2 dicks, one of them's on fire, you can't beat that? Do you do that?
You mean like the storyboard artists, the different teams?
Yeah.
Well, I guess when we're screening the episodes, we're screening the animatics. You know, it'll be one team's episode, and then the other teams will be like, damn, that's really good.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're more happy for each other than anything because we all want the show to succeed and be the best that it can be. So, yeah.
You knew what you wanted to do, but in case anybody's trying to get into what you do, do you have like advice at all?
Well, this is
For
just
say
what,
like a black dude that is now working a lot in Hollywood, but used to tag trash cans beautifully. If you could give that sort of person advice.
Well, this is just what worked for me, but I think trying to get an internship with a studio is probably the best way. Even if it's an unpaid internship, because getting your foot in the door is the most important thing.
How do you get your foot in the door? Like, do you submit work? Do you just cold call? How do you?
Well, the way that I got the internship was I was still in college, and Nickelodeon came to my school and did a talk about internships, and I like cornered one of the ladies afterwards and was like, "Can I give you my information?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, just email me and I'll remember you." And she did.
Awesome! Good for you.
So be aggressive, but not too aggressive. Don't be scary.
And you're from Chicago, and you were like, I got to get out of this winter, so please help me out.
Yeah, you know, there's not much of a animation industry there. I love Chicago. I would totally still be living there if I could, but you know, yeah, this is where it's at. This is where the industry is, so I'm happy to be here.
I can't believe you drew that when you were 8. That's crazy. Mind-blowing.
I know.
I'm so in awe of animation. I cannot draw. I've always tried and wanted to, and I can't. I'm so in awe. It's so beautiful what you guys do on Rick and Morty, and
Thank you.
but the fact you're drawing like that when you were 8, like that's unbelievable. It's like a gift.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right. Let's take a look at how it actually goes from storyboard into animatic. Right? Animatic?
Yeah.
I learned so much from this show.
Animatic to final animation.
Animatic to final animation.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, so after we're completely done storyboarding, it's thrown into video form, and that's the animatic. And then it's shipped over to Canada, where it's fully animated.
Go Canada. Go Canada.
Vancouver.
Now, is it because
Marnell.
those white people will work for cheaper, or is it?
think so.
I think it's $1. I think the dollar is down to like 3 cents.
Right. We gotta build a wall on the Canada side. Stop these people with the animatics. Don't know.
Canadians can do some serious animaticing, okay? Not this one, but all the others.
Right.
Though I don't know, I feel like these days a lot of the animation is done overseas. So
yeah, a lot of the like intensive, like every show I've worked on, it's like there's a crew in town, and then we put together. It used to be a giant box of DVDs that you would be like, please get to Korea, and then they would call you and you'd be like, am I going to fire a PA today?
Oh gosh.
And now it's all
Digital.
obviously shipped digitally.
Yeah.
They still call it shipping it,
Yeah.
which means it's like all locked and out the door. But like we actually do a lot in house. We do like walk cycles. If there's like a particularly funny moment, they'll kind of like animate it out a little bit before it goes.
Yeah, we do things like special posing and I guess like special where we want the proportions and everything to be like perfect. We'll have the artist do it here, and then the animators will kind of use that as.
And
the
we
guide.
do the character design here and the background design.
Character design is here. Like all the pre-production is done in Burbank.
And then it like all gets shipped off, all like the elements, and then all the heavy lifting, all of like the actual like fluid movement and everything.
Color, all of that. Well, background color is done here, but animation coloring is done overseas. Yeah.
Can we see what that looks like side by side? I think this is Beth digging in the backyard.
Oh God! Oh God! Woo! Summer? Nobody has to know about that. We can put it right back and pretend we never saw it, like we did with Dad's mannequin leg.
Fine, stay here. I'll rescue Grandpa myself.
And how are you gonna do that?
I don't know yet. I'll make it up as I go. That's what Grandpa Rick does. That's what heroes do.
You want to see what a hero Rick is? I'll bring you somewhere, Summer.
My goodness, children. Relinquish the illegal technology to the nearest Federation representative. And then we'll all play balderdash.
Check this out.
It's beautiful.
Oh my God!
Hey, I'm squatting in here!
All right, Morty, lesson's over. We got some business to attend to a few light minutes south of here.
Oh, you still use south in space?
Whoa! Jesus, Jerry, what the hell are you doing here?
What the hell? I know, right? Oh, what the hell? I know, right?
You're killing us! You hear me? Come back! You gotta come back! Change your mind!
Jeep, Summer,
Hunter! Oh, my dear sweet God, Hunter. Oh, my boy, my boy. I'm sorry. It was all my fault. I'm sorry.
Daddy, leave the car alone.
What?
Leave the car alone.
Hunter? Go!
Oh my God!
Huh? Shh.
Gotcha. Come here, you little pumpkin. I still have shit on my ass. Who am I?
Who am I? I'm time! I'm literally time!
We captured that moment. We run it on a loop through Simple Rick's mind, and the chemical that makes his brain secrete goes into every Simple Rick Simple Wafers wafer cookie. Come home to the impossible flavor of your own emotional completion. Come home to Simple Rick's.
So those were all my boards throughout the years of Rick and Morty.
That was all you?
That was all me.
It's all right.
Will you show us a little bit of how you draw?
Sure. Okay. I hope I don't own it. Okay. So I guess I'll just show you how to draw Rick.
Is it coming up anywhere?
No?
I didn't mean for it to come up on the screen. I just wanted to see how you draw. Like what position on a couch you would sit in.
Like what you're wearing.
Right, what she's wearing.
You know,
just how does someone draw? You know?
So that's how it happens.
Do you draw anything outside of work? Or are you just like, fuck this, man, I'm so tired, I gotta go home, I gotta smoke this crack?
Yeah.
Which ironically would make you draw more, but.
I'll be honest, I don't really draw as much out of work as I should, because 40 hours a week of drawing is a lot. But so basically, Rick, his head is like a pill. Sorry if I'm a little shaky. But oh no, see, this touch thing. Uh-oh. And the eraser doesn't work.
If you draw another squiggle, it's the start of Homer Simpson's head.
So then, what is going on here?
Does it feel different to draw with that tool as opposed to like sketching with pencils?
Yeah, it does. I'm more used to this now, but I still do like drawing with pencils. There's something more organic about it. Okay.
Did I ask you, who do you like to draw the most?
I like to draw Summer the most, but Rick is the easiest to draw.
Yeah.
When we get an animatic, we'll be watching it down, and then a scene will happen with Summer in it, and we'll all be like, Erica Hayes, that's Erica Hayes' Summer. She like draws Summer very specifically with like Summer's always like standing with her like hip to the side with her hands on her hips and stuff, and like always like really sells us on
She's a
Summer.
badass.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark this season, Mike.
Is it?
It's pretty fucking dark. It seems like we have a lot of speeches, a lot of like opening up. You actually could learn a lot from this season if you're going through some sort of issue. Because you had it's deep. You had
a cannibalism, incest, bestiality episode right there. Like you get the trifecta, right? The usual.
But you also learn so much about yourself. Because your doctor's office scene was huge. The amount that came out. And also this episode, huge monologue. What's going on? Why do you think that is?
That it's getting deep?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, I think it was a combination of things because we had 2 seasons, and each season, like first season, we were just like, let's do whatever we want. Let's just do Jurassic Park. Half of this episode will be on a recreation of the Titanic. Like, it was a lot more like loosey-goosey, which is like, is great because then you get like interdimensional cable, which like never would happen if you. Because you don't quite get interdimensional cable stuff if you're like, if you're not just like seeing what sticks kind of. And then second season came around and we were still doing that, but like, because still nobody had really seen the show too much. Like, it was still like, we were still going on Reddit and like having conversations with people who had like.
What do you think about Reddit now? Like the way that it's received Rick and Morty, has it changed?
I don't know. I think it's good and bad. Like, I think that like.
Reddit bad? No.
I think our main audience is still there, and you're seeing that like our audience who's always been on that subreddit, because we created this thing on Reddit when the show first started, because we liked Reddit and wanted to have something to like talk to people on, and now it's a lot like now that the third season has kind of exploded and gotten bigger. It's like it's cool that we have a bigger audience, and I'm glad a lot of people have seen the show. But like this little community we used to have on Reddit has kind of been taken over by this like memification of like, I'm gonna post like a picture of a pickle that I've like just written my name on kind of thing. And it's like, used to primarily be like, guys, I watched this episode 30 times and I have a theory, and like. Yeah,
it's become, it's so successful that it's okay to kind of hate on it sometimes.
Yeah, well, people are, I don't mind the hate because like it's not for everybody, but everybody's now watching it. So like, you hear a lot of people still loving it, and if people are like, this show sucks, so that episode's bad, I'm like, well, that person's obviously a moron and doesn't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Right? Like.
Don't have taste.
But I don't like, there is kind of a new Rick and Morty fan that watches it, loves it, but then likes to tell other people that they're better than them because they like Rick and Morty instead of being like, come and be inclusive and watch this show that's crazy and awesome. And like when we're writing it, we want you to never know what's coming next. Like we like to not know ourselves sometimes. There's like some stuff we do, but when people are saying like, you don't get the show and I do, it's like, that's not, you don't know how to experience joy anymore, dude. Like calm down, like be excited you don't know what's coming, you know?
Yeah, and let's be honest, it is always dude. It's always dude.
There's never a girl who's like, you're an idiot because you don't like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, no, it doesn't happen.
Some dude. Anyway.
You are, yeah.
This thing's a little finicky.
We started talking over here, but give us some tips. When I'm at Five Guys and I need to draw that on a napkin, how do I do this?
Yeah,
I like that you're at Five Guys trying to get like a free burger. Like, you gotta trust me. I write Morty Rick. More ketchup. Even though we all know it's Szechuan sauce.
And they give you the ketchup for free, man. You don't have to worry about that.
They give you the ketchup for free.
You know what's fun? Well, hold on.
I got family behind the counter who won't even fuck with me on free ketchup.
Justin did have a story that he was tipping with drawings of Rick and Morty once, and like Dan was making fun of him for that because he was like, you couldn't just tip. He's like, I didn't have any more money. I was just tipping with Rick and Morty drawings, and Dan was like kind of making fun of him, but then I saw like Dan stop and he was like, wait, I've heard of that before. Wait, I think Monet did that. And like, yeah, there was this moment where Dan just like stopped making fun of Justin, and I was like, ah! You just Monet'd yourself.
And you're sort of the resident, you're the sci-fi guy, pretty much. They lean towards you.
I am a big sci-fi guy. I'm the nerd. I'm like, I've been made fun of for being like, you know, like Dan and Justin make fun of me for like being a nerd for the show, and like
that's like Wesley Snipes making fun of Samuel L. Jackson for being an action hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can't even sit in that room and hear. I'm cool. So if I walked in that room and I saw them nerds fighting, I'd be like, stop. You don't have privileges. You all nerds. That's hilarious. If there were a Rick and Morty movie, what would your plot line be?
That's actually something I think about a lot.
Just you.
Do you guys want to see a Rick and Morty movie? Would you go see a Rick and Morty movie? Yeah, I would too. You know, it's there's some things. I have some ideas for it that I don't want to say in case because I actually think they're like funny enough to be like.
Just give us the shitty ideas. They're probably great.
Yeah, I think the best Rick and Morty movie would be a standalone episode that doesn't fit into the major plot that we're doing, that you could go in and see and have no idea about the show. You could take somebody who's never seen the show, and it's just such a fucking funny, good sci-fi movie that you would leave it being like, I need to see that 100 times. Like it's
a million times over and over again. And so 100 times for 100 years.
Yeah.
Forever, Rick and Morty movie.
And so if we fit like a whole movie into like 20-something minutes, the things we could fit into a whole movie, you would leave that like sweating and exhausted.
We have so much of the talent from the show here. Maybe we'll do a little mini episode.
Yeah, we should. Well, I want to hear tips on Rick though. I don't know how to draw him at Five Guys.
All right, well, I'm here for that. I'm here for you.
So his head is pill-shaped.
As is mine. Put me down.
He's got like 6 points on each side of his head, but when it's sort of more 3/4, you can't see as many of the points.
Wait, let him write that down. Hold on.
6 points. Like
6 points
something
on
else
each side.
in the world.
When you're looking straight at him. 6 each. His eyes come like about halfway.
Because he's always pretty tired.
And he's just, I don't know, he's really skinny, stick-like man, so just draw him very skinny. And
if we're drawing him fast, like off the top of your head, what order do we go? Is it eyebrow, eyes, hair, head, or is it head? Like, what do you? So you have to draw it in 2 seconds. Gun to your head. Draw Rick.
Why would a gunman do that?
Draw me Rick. I'm crazy. I have a gun.
Where would that happen?
I'm from Reddit. 6 points.
This thing is so
You're the one who brought the tablet, lady.
I did not bring this. This isn't mine.
Blam! You're done.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
I'm the one with the gun.
I think my sleeve is messing
up. All right, so it's head, ear.
No,
that's important.
6 points.
6 points.
6 points.
Eyes halfway down.
Yeah, eyes, eyebrow.
Pupils.
Little funky pupils. Oh, some bags.
Gotta draw the bags.
Sleepy, yeah.
Gotta draw the bags. Kind of a nose?
A crooked, evil nose. Oh, the W! All right, I'll put my gun away. You did it. You can live.
You almost got your hair blown off.
Monet did it too. Didn't have to shoot Monet, yeah.
Maybe we'll draw a little scene.
You want to do a little scene?
Let's do a little
Do
scene.
you think you can do a scene on this tablet?
I can try.
Yeah, you want to try?
It's
all right.
really.
All right. So, should I give the setup?
Let's do the setup.
All right. So we've got a Rick and Morty artist, and we've got 2 Rick and Morty voices, right? We've got Mr. Goldenfold, and we've got Beth Smith, right? Okay, so.
Canadian high five. I'm a professional.
No, don't do this place. Oh man.
Okay,
come on. What did you think? What did you think? I was gonna fall, man.
Scene's gonna be better. Scene's gonna be better than the handshake, guys. Don't worry, don't worry.
I knew you weren't gonna fall.
Okay, so what are we doing?
Okay. It's a school guidance. You're going in to meet with Morty's teacher for like a parent-teacher conference, but you're mad because Morty now has a. He tried to Teen Wolf himself at school, and it went wrong, and now he has a Teen Wolf arm instead of a penis.
Of course.
And you want answers. And Mr. Goldenfold is your first teacher meeting.
Am I happy or sad about this invention?
I think you don't want to get fired. So you're going to spin it however you think having a werewolf arm for a penis works for you.
Excellent.
And I think you are just super, you need him to admit culpability so that your insurance will pay for the removal of a werewolf.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Have to pull up my pants.
There's no bathroom in there, sir. I'm not sure what you're doing with your pants.
Don't worry about it. There's a bathroom wherever my dick is out. Oh, you must be Morty's mother.
So, just wanted to know from your perspective how Morty is doing this term.
Well, normally I'm very unhappy with Morty. He just doesn't like math.
Really?
It's as if he thinks he's got a trust fund. And I know it doesn't based on how you've come into class today. However, lately he has been my favorite student.
Well, first of all, the fact that he doesn't like math usually reflects on the teacher. I had some very inspirational teachers as a child. So perhaps it reflects on what's happening in the classroom. What is he doing well at?
Well, I love how he holds his basketball recently. You may have seen that he has grown such a lovely arm and such incredible talent. Is that something he gets from you?
Yes, I have also noticed him holding things at home. Very with a nice grip. He said the inspiration came from a class to which you did not attend, to which they aired a movie. Teen Wolf, I believe it was.
Oh, yes, a classic.
What, you were absent that day?
Well, I do leave every once in a while. I've got a club I belong to. It's mostly about panties. But the point is, your son has been a wonderful addition to this class, and I was wondering, will you show me your Teen Wolf arm?
Well, I'm so happy for you that my son has been a wonderful addition to your classroom because I am dealing with him at home, usually having to try to keep away from the pickle serum that his grandfather likes to get into. And now I find him locking himself in the bathroom for far longer than he usually would, coming out with
Oh, geez, hey guys, sorry I'm late. Are you guys talking about my? I tried really hard on that on the semester midterms, but you know, the fractions we never go over them in class, and like I just don't know which one goes on.
Not every child understands fractions, but your child does because of your broken home.
Wow.
Shut up!
Wait, you guys aren't arguing about my werewolf penis, are you?
Morty?
Arm.
No, we absolutely think that your werewolf penis is wonderful. I'm just curious why, if this was something that you encourage, you wouldn't have made him entirely Teen Wolf or no Teen Wolf, but just the penis Teen Wolf doesn't seem like a plan that has longevity.
Let's just say I was intrigued.
And I'm sure
seen. Sarah Chalk, folks. So glad to see her in person. We got to do that live, which is insane. I've never met somebody who was a doctor in real life and then became a series of doctors on TV. That's
Yes.
true. You went to Canadian medical school, right?
I have a couple of medical degrees. I got like a
3.
Yeah, I got like a doctor, like a doctor, and then like a baby doctor, and then like a people doctor, and then like a horse doctor. I went to school for a lot of years. It's like equals like 2 Canadian years if you convert it of schooling. I never actually did graduate from college. So yeah.
Hilarious. Do you have any advice for people who are trying to grow up to be you?
Change the course now, guys. It's not too late.
Did you do a lot?
That's genetic. It's from Rick. It's genetic. It's from my.
So awesome.
It's from my father. I would say advice would be do every school play that you can. Get involved when you're, you know, a kid, and but wait to do it, you know, like as a job till after that, because I think it's, you know, the best thing to do is hang out with your buddies and do it in school. I feel like the neat thing about today, as opposed to when I was growing up, is there's so many tools at your disposal. Like there's just, you can do anything. You can grab your iPhone and make a movie. You can do it all at home with your buddies, and that was the cool experience, you know. That we had doing Channel 101. You know, it was just like a bunch of people getting together on a Sunday night and hanging out and watching each other's stuff. It was so inspiring.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Now, Mike, you were a writer's assistant, right?
Yeah, first season.
And now supervising producer of this episode, correct?
And I wrote this episode.
And wrote this entire episode. Pretty badass. How did you meet Dan and the gang? How did you meet Justin as well? Were you standing next to Erica and you were like, I gotta get out of Chicago?
Yeah, that lady was like, I'll remember you. And I was like, and me.
So creepy, delicious.
No, I was also in Chicago. I grew up in Chicago too. And I saw a lot of people that had been kind of at Second City for like ever. And then they were like, never gonna leave, kind of like it was gonna be like Old Town Ale House for life. And and so I went to, my buddies went to USC because they're like, that's how you get in the film industry, which ends up not being true for the most part. That's how you end up being bitter and angry about the film industry. Hey guys. And then crashed on a couch for 6 months, was getting any job I could. There used to be like job lists that would go around, and I was just scrabbling for those, and I PA'd on a couple shows, and then I ended up at South Park as a PA, and I made a friend there, Jennifer Howell, who used to be their head of film, who took me on as an assistant when she went and was running animation at Fox Studio I was there for like 2.5 years. And then that's where I met Justin Roiland. We developed with him for a while.
Yeah.
And his shows were amazing.
Yep.
And we would hit it off because he'd be waiting for a meeting, and I would just be talking about video games with him, and finally I was like, dude, listen, I know you're gonna have a show on the air. please will you hire me as a writer's assistant or literally anything someday. Like, I would love to work on these that we're developing with you now, but if it's not one of these, just give me a chance. And so a year and a half later, I got an email from him being like, hey, we made a pilot. Adult Swim picked us up for 2 more scripts. We don't know if we're going to go to series, but do you want to come and be the writer's assistant on this just in case? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll be there tomorrow. So it was me, him, Harmon, and Ryan Ridley, and we wrote Lawnmower Dog and Rick Potion number 9 before the series. Oh my God, and that was still before they knew. That was still when we would be like, is Justin going to get to be Rick and Morty? Like, we'd be like waiting for the call to come in, and we were like, oh, I hope so. And then first season, I was writer's assistant, so that was awesome that we got picked up to just be able to get to animate something. And it's kind of, so being a writer's assistant, for people that don't know, it's all the writers are sitting around a table, you're pitching ideas all day, you're on the whiteboard, you're like, Justin's drawing stuff, and you're coming up with episodes, and the writer's assistant is the keeper of all of that stuff. And so in our room, we even like record it sometimes so that like if Dan raps something in the room that's funny, or if Justin's doing a voice, like I would have put in the notes, like we used to call it jib jabbing. You might hear us refer to that every once in a while, some random place. Like if I wrote jib jab in the notes, you could search it out, just the phrase jib jab, which would never come up otherwise. And that would always be like a Dan rap, or Justin being like, ooh, wee, or you know, something like that. And something that's, so you're like the keeper of all this knowledge, and like you're supplying it to the writers when they're writing their episode. It's like, okay, here's every day and all the pictures of the boards from when we talked about that episode. And then something that's just like an old school way to do it is writer's assistants are often want to be writers too. Like we're going home every night, we're writing our own stuff every night, you're writing spec scripts, you're writing original stuff, you're doing whatever you can. And every once in a while you'll peep up and be like, here's a joke, you know, and if it hits a couple times, you're like becoming one of the group. Like not only do you know everything about the show, but like you've kind of gotten the voice of the show as well. Yeah. And so a cool old school move is you give the writer's assistant a script, their season that they're writing it. And then, so that's how I ended up
you give a writer's assistant an unfinished script, and you're like, bitch, you finish this script if you want a job.
You send them out to write the outline, and then they do the first drafts, and then it goes through the same process. They're the writer on that script. Wow. And then however that experience is, you'll be a writer's assistant again, but you might get another script, or in my case, they up me to writer the next year, and then supervising producer the year after that.
Crazy. So awesome. Can we cut to the clip of all of the writers' assistants that did not make it this season? Can we show all the writers' assistants that did not make it? I think we have those pictures. Or fuck that, we'll just go to audience questions. How about audience questions instead?
Yeah!
Great, we've got some people that we asked to step up to the microphone and have some pre-selected questions. All these questions have been screened and vetted. Fuck that.
Before I get to my question, I'm a writer that started as a writer's assistant.
Tell us your name and your city.
My name is Wendy. I'm from Burbank.
Okay.
Yeah, Wendy.
Oh, Burbank.
Thank you. I started as a writer's assistant too, and I had an executive producer that I would pitch silently to him, and then he would pitch it to the room, and then if it hit, then he would give me credit. And that was pretty awesome.
Nice.
That's really
So
cool.
a man restated the exact same thing that you said.
No, he was protecting me because
Okay.
I came out of my mouth. That's not cool. That's not protocol. But if it came from him and everyone loved it, then he would say that was.
What I like to do is if a girl makes a joke and it falls flat, I say it the exact same thing.
The room is rough. It's very, very rough. Wait, I have a question about the thing you did when you were 8. Was the joke that grandma was pretending she didn't recognize her own grandchildren, like as a prank?
Yes.
Okay, that is badass. You were 8, you came up with it. That's awesome. Okay, so and wait, and just one more thing.
Of course.
You've written the greatest episode in the series. Total Recall is, without a doubt. I mean, like across the. I'm sorry, and I love them all. Like they're my.
I like Golden Fold Inception myself, but okay.
Okay, whatever. Well, like even Jack Black sat up here and they were like, "Dude, what's your favorite episode?" And he's like, "The one with the parasites." Like.
Well, my name is on that episode, and I wrote the outline and the first couple drafts. But then after the first couple drafts, Justin's doing a draft, Dan's doing a draft, the room is doing a draft. We're breaking it apart, we're pulling it back together, and then. You're just happy when you see if you get like a 3 or 4 page sequence that stays untouched, that's like, I fucking did it! Yeah. But thank you, I love that episode too.
It's the best. Okay, so here's my question. All right, what's the deal with mega seeds? are they really the source of Rick's intelligence?
Oh.
Are they in the flask somehow?
I think it's like, well, no. The flask is just liquor. He's an alcoholic. I guess you could shove a mega seed in a big bottle of vodka for a while.
No, yeah,
and
it was soaked in alcohol.
I mean, that sounds nice. But no. Mega seeds, I would say, if Rick needs like a little boost, he might put a little mega seed up there and just keep himself going. Like, let's say he's got to do science all night long. But no, I think Rick really does. There's a reason that, we're not running into Ricks that don't have access to mega seed. Like, Ricks are smart guys who have identified that the universe is chaotic. They don't need mega seeds for that.
But in Rick Atlantis, they were farming them. I mean, in the new Morty.
Well, yeah, but it's like how we would farm, avocados. Like.
All right, so it's not so Mortys can become super intelligent and take over the.
No, I mean, you put a mega seed into a Morty, you see what happens in the pilot.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for your question.
Was there a conscious decision to have Beth-focused and Jerry-focused solo episodes this season, or did it just work out like that in the writing process?
It kind of goes, we sat down to write this season, and there are things that we're like, okay, who have we not used enough? You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had a Beth adventure yet, and we have, that didn't happen with Jerry, because we get Jerry a lot, and then there was one day when we were sitting around and we were like, oh my God, a Rick-Jerry adventure. Rick fucking hates Jerry. Like, that just got us excited. Like, what does that look like? And it was the opposite for Beth. We always knew that we wanted a Beth-Rick adventure this season, but it was like a big, hard thing to do. And often it's how can we service our voice actors? Like, how can we get to use them more? And sometimes that's not, if you sit down and you're like, what if Rick is fucking a Borg? It's like, that's not using our arsenal that we have. So there are times where we're like, we should do a summer episode, like that the first episode this season, we were like, oh, we're gonna get to have so much summer. She's gonna be the one who's like, let's go get this portal gun out of the backyard. Like, that got us, we came up with that like 2 years before that episode came out. We thought we were gonna put that at the end of season 2. And that idea just stayed because we love summer so much. So it was a little bit what you're asking. Like, we do have things that we want to do, but then it is coming from a place of like, we watch these episodes and we hear these characters and these voices, and we're like, maybe we don't need a Noop in this episode. Maybe we need more Beth, or we need more Summer, or we need more Jerry.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm from Minneapolis.
Woo!
And it seems like Star Trek influences you in some of your creative processes. I was wondering if you could talk about what other things have influenced you in your creative ideas, and any heroes, sci-fi heroes from your background, your childhood.
I am a big Star Trek nerd. In fact, before I worked on Rick and Morty, I was writing a Twitter called @TNG Season 8. And it was a fake season of TNG that was really bad. And then I sold it to Star Trek and wrote a book that was a fake guide to that season. But it turns out that Star Trek fans don't really like it when you make fun of Star Trek. So, but yeah, Star Trek comes into it a lot. A lot of serialized sci-fi and a lot of movies, obviously. I actually think there's Star Trek Voyager and Stargate Atlantis and shows that happen after there are 400 episodes of a sci-fi show, where they've had to put together a room of writers and be like, cool, we can't do anything the show's ever done, and we've done everything. And we can't do anything that any other sci-fi show has ever done, otherwise somebody will be like, Star Trek did it. And so what ideas do they cut? Like, Farscape is one of them. Like, we talk about Farscape all the time in the writer's room. Justin's obsessed with it, I am too. Like, stories that feel like they're from an alternate dimension Star Trek. And I'd say Farscape is probably our #1 influence. And first season we used 2 Farscape actresses, actually. But you'll have to hunt them out. I'm not going to tell you what they are.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Little tall for me. My name is Jake Black Hat Black pants. Just first of all, thank you guys
Oh,
so
of
much.
the Northern California black hat, black pants.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
It's like a Game of Thrones name.
First of all, thank you guys so much for taking on questions. I totally didn't expect mine to get picked. So, if Rick had a razor scooter, what stickers would he put on it? And could you please illustrate those?
I know the answer to that, so I won't say it because I don't want to spoil it.
Oh.
For a future episode where Rick gets a razor scooter and puts stickers on it.
Are you serious?
Don't tell Reddit! What do you guys think the stickers would be that Rick puts on his razor scooter?
I don't want to talk to Future Man.
Well, he's testing us.
I feel like he'd certainly have a bad brain sticker.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You think?
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think?
Definitely have a Szechuan sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Very important to him. Shoney's! Yeah. Probably.
Probably.
What do you think? White Sox sticker, maybe? Psych! Cubs sticker.
Cubs fan versus White Sox fan up here.
I don't know. I think if Rick had a razor scooter, he wouldn't fuck that shit up with some stickers, right? He would get very upset about that, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna put a disclaimer in there, like he would have to be totally anti-adhesion or something. Like adhesive substances just didn't work for him. It wasn't.
I don't even understand.
Flips and shits.
Flips and shits?
Yeah.
Do you what do you think? What is your sticker of choice?
You know, I was really gonna go with just a flame decal because he understands the whimsy in it.
Yeah, that's probably all right. Okay. And it makes you go faster.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
We have one last question behind you.
Hi. It's
Hi.
a little tall for me too. I'm Alex. I just moved here from Denver, and
welcome.
My question was a little bit more kind of technical. So, how do you work with the art department in directing visual comedy? So there's a lot of comedy in the script, but there's also so much visual comedy that I think that gets overlooked. And I wanted to know what those conversations and storyboards might look like.
So in animation, there's kind of two types of show when it comes to scripting. There's board-driven and there's scripted. Is that what it's called? Scripted?
Script-driven, yeah.
Script-driven.
Yeah.
A board-driven show is like SpongeBob, where the writers, the whole episode is it's like an outline kind of with a couple lines of dialogue in it, and then the animators really get to write the dialogue and write, a lot of jokes in it.
That's cheating.
It is cheating.
That's cheating, though.
You get hired on one of those shows, though, and you're like,
Yeah.
here's my episode, it's a paragraph.
But on our
show, it's like 40 pages. If you make a mistake, the whole thing falls apart like a house of cards. But on our show, we try to split the difference, at least. And I'm going to ask you a question about this in a second. What I like to do is be like, Rick and Beth enter a magical world. It should feel like, an Anne Frank lunchbox with that kind of stuff in it, and then they start talking. And sometimes I like to try to pass it to you guys and be like, what do you come up with? And sometimes I get the very real feeling of you guys being like, we have to fucking draw this. Just tell us what the fuck to draw. Stop getting us to write this for you. And I'm like, no, I'm being inclusive. Is that annoying?
She's still stuck on Anne Frank lunchbox.
Oh, Anne Frank, Lisa Frank. Anne Frank lunchbox. But you know what? Anne Frank had a Lisa Frank lunchbox. So it's the same thing.
I love that Anne Frank has just the loudest lunchbox ever.
And Jane, stop it! So Jane Becker, Rick and Morty writer, is here, and she's laughing at me the hardest of all of you. You all stopped laughing, and she was still slapping her knee. Anyway, is that
amazing.
annoying?
Anne Frank
Not
Lunchbox
always.
is my brand new cover band.
Hey, cut that out. We're gonna edit that out of the episode.
No, we're not.
It's live. It's already aired.
It's live.
Sometimes Justin will have a really particular idea for a character, and he'll draw it on the whiteboard when we're launching the episode, and he'll be like, I kind of want it to look like this. But that's not always the case. Sometimes there's just a really vague description in the script of, you know, a crazy guy with 3 eyes and this much hair and do whatever you want, basically. And it's like, okay. And that can be fun. That can be pretty fun. But I think the hardest is when, for instance, 301 was when Rick went back to the Citadel to kill all the other Ricks. It was like one line of script that was just like, and then he kills them all. Just so we had to like figure out how he kills them all, in what order and in what way, completely.
Another writer used to do that, named Shakespeare. Would write, they fight, and then the actors would get to suss it out. And I did that in Total Recall, and you guys fucking nailed it in the big shootout sequence. So I'd like to throw that in to see if you guys want to do it. So I'm sorry!
Look, it's not necessarily a complaint, because we get to be pretty creative and have fun. But it's just funny when you read it and it's like, and then he kills them all. Okay.
In her defense, sometimes that's like, the episode was due 7 months ago, and now we've changed it again. And we're going to the Citadel now. And it's like, just tell me what the fuck to drop. We're late. We're late, and people on the internet are starting to smell it. So.
They're getting very angry.
Reddit is very mad.
It's always mad. We can't even go off of Reddit. If Twitter gets mad, that's when you know you're fucked.
Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Welcome to Los Angeles. Please help me in saying thank you to Sarah Chalk.
Thanks.
Erica Hayes. Mike McMahon. And one of the sweetest parts of tonight's episode was when father and daughter came together and sort of a Cats in the Cradle song, otherwise known as the Doo-Doo Butt song, which I think we should all hear again.
And sing along.
Yeah, let's hear that Doo-Doo Butt
sing
song.
along. Let's play that beautiful Doo-Doo Butt song. Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody. Good night. This has been Ricking Morty. We love you. I was Brandon Johnson. See you next week and the week after. Until there's no more Rick and Morty. Good night, Burbank.
It's a good show.